All right, everyone. I'd like to get your attention, please. We'll start today's meeting. And before we get started, wanted to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities, including the national government of the Red River Métis, in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. And we'll call that meeting's call to order. In that regard, I'd just like to also acknowledge that tomorrow is National Truth and Reconciliation Day, and I think that we should all participate in a manner that we see fit on this very significant day tomorrow. There's one resolution in regards to amending our agenda for today's meeting, and that's by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be it resolved that we amend the agenda, and we're deleting one item. We're going to gather a little bit more information on this, and that's item 9F, the electric service agreement with Manitoba Hydro. All in favor? Anyone opposed to that? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Sobring that we accept the agenda as amended. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that we waive the reading and accept and approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of September the 15th. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We'll move straight into the consent agenda. We have a couple of action items related to a couple of different situations regarding roll number 0346350 in the amount of $436.21, and that's regarding a temporary storage fee, and roll number 0111000 in the amount of $2,123.64, and that was for a yard cleanup. We also have a couple of outstanding water accounts that have been added to taxes, and that's roll number 0006900 in the amount of $33,700.53, and that's due to not paying the current water bill. We have a couple of proclamations today. So we'll start with International Day of Older Persons.
Thank you. Whereas in 1990, the United Nations adopted October 1st as the International Day of Older Persons, and whereas between 1950 and 2010, life expectancy worldwide rose from 46 to 68 years and is projected to reach 81 years by the end of the century. And whereas by 2050, 2 billion people worldwide will be 60 years of age or older. And whereas older persons represent the fastest growing segment of the Canadian population, requiring attention to their specific needs, including income security, housing, healthcare, and elder abuse. And whereas in 2010, Canada recognized these needs by designating October 1st as National Seniors Day. And whereas the City of Dauphin celebrates seniors in our community and the contributions they make to their families and to society. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim October 1st, this Wednesday, as International Day of Older Persons.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Laughlin. The next proclamation is Fire Prevention Week, and that's Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. Whereas the City of Dauphin is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all of those living in and visiting Dauphin, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk for fire, and whereas when the smoke alarm sounds, Dauphin residents may have less than 2 minutes to escape to safety, and whereas Dauphin's residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire, and whereas Dauphin residents should make a home escape plan, drawing a map of each level of the home, showing all doors and windows, and whereas Dauphin residents should practice the home fire escape plan with everyone in the household, including visitors, and whereas Dauphin residents should practice the home fire escape drill at least twice a year during the day and at night, And whereas Dauphin residents should teach children to escape on their own in case the adults cannot help them. And whereas Dauphin residents should make sure everyone in the house knows how to call 911 or the local emergency number from a cell phone or a neighbor's phone. And whereas Dauphin residents should practice using different ways out. And whereas Dauphin residents in a real emergency should get low and go under the smoke to get out quickly. And whereas Dauphin residents should get out and stay out, never going back inside the home for people, pets, or things. And whereas Dauphin residents are responsive to public education measures and be able to take action to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas this year marks the 103rd anniversary of Fire Prevention Week. And whereas this year's campaign, Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home, strives to educate on the safe ways to buy, charge, and recycle these increasingly common batteries to prevent fires. And whereas all people of Dauphin are urged to be aware of their surroundings, look for available points of escape in the event of a fire or other emergency, respond when the smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately, and support the public safety activities and efforts of the Dauphin Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week 2025. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim October 5th to 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week, dated today and signed by our mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. And we have one final proclamation, and that's Councillor Sobering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the city representative on the Dauphin District Henny Van, it is my privilege to proclaim, whereas accessible, affordable, and inclusive transportation is essential to the independence, dignity, and quality of life for many residents in Dauphin and surrounding communities, and whereas the Dauphin District Handy Van has for the past 40 years provided safe, reliable, and vital transportation services to seniors, persons with disabilities, and others with mobility challenges, and whereas the dedicated staff, volunteers, and community partners of the Dauphin and District Handy Van have contributed measurably to improving accessibility, promoting inclusivity, and supporting the social and economic participation of countless residents. And whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the important role the Handy Van has played in strengthening our community, fostering equal opportunities for all residents to live active and engaged lives, we do hereby proclaim 2025 as the 40th anniversary year of the Dauphin and District Handy Van.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. There's one other item in the consent agenda related to Manitoba News release, and that's from the Environment and Climate Change improvement to 30 recreational trails. So Northgate Trails was one of the beneficiaries of a trail grant this year. So motion by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Ray be resolved that all the items listed and read under the consent agenda be approved and form part of these minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray and seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be authorized and approved as follows. We had 49 checks in the recent run, totaling $489,386.36. There was one voided check in the current range, and that was due to a credit to transfer to their credit rather than a check, so that check was voided. And there were several small checks voided in past ranges, primarily due to being stale dated or lost in the mail. There was one electronic fund transfer for $1,215.37. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Sobering, that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements for the period ending August 31st, and that includes the general fund balance sheet and income statement and the utility fund balance sheet and income statement. Any questions or comments regarding those financial reports? Call for the question then. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be resolved that council accepts as information the reserve report for the period ending August 2025. Any questions or comments regarding the reserve report? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Sobering. Councillor Sobering, sorry for the shortcut there. Be resolved that council accepts as information the budget variance analysis for the period ending August 2025. Any questions or comments regarding this report? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the minutes and reports from the following committees. We got the regular board meeting minutes from the Intermountain Watershed District, the July 24th meeting, Fort Dauphin Museum's July meeting, and September's manager's report. The Sharps Committee update of September the 19th, and the DART Restart Program report for June to September of this year. Any questions or comments regarding any of these reports or minutes? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas Dauphin Rec Services has historically operated under the authority of a board and has been jointly funded by the city and the rural municipality of Dauphin. And whereas at their regular meeting of July the 14th, council accepted an offer of lump sum funding from the RM dated February the 14th of this year. And whereas the city and RM have since worked collaboratively to reach consensus on a new 3-year rec funding agreement that reinstates per capita funding for joint rec services effective January 1st of 2026, be it resolved that council approves the recreation funding agreement between the City of Dauphin and the RM of Dauphin, which includes details regarding capital and operating funding, governance structure and membership, and term, and authorizes the agreement to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? Anyone? No? I'd just like to, before we call for the question, just reach out and, message at the RM that they came to the table and said they'd like to continue discussions, and council agreed to do that. And we had a very effective, relatively short meeting just a short time ago, and came up with an agreement that I think both sides are very glad to put ink to. So I'll call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas the city is undertaking the development of an active transport trail linking Kingsway Trail, which is along First Avenue Southeast, and Assiniboine College, as identified in our 2025 financial plan, be it resolved that council accepts as information a temporary site access agreement between the city and Manitoba Hydro and a memo dated September 29th from the project and development manager recommending approval of the agreement, which grants permission for the city to begin construction of the trail on Hydro-owned land. Further be resolved that council agrees with the project development manager's recommendation approving this temporary site access agreement with Hydro and authorizes the agreement to be signed. All those questions or comments regarding this resolution? Councillor Bellemare?
Just a question, Kingsway Trail. So do we have signage on there with that name, or where does that name come from? I mean, it's logical, but we don't use it very much.
No, that was something that we had decided several years ago when we built the trail, which is on First Avenue Southeast from Main all the way to Mountain. Trail signage is not something that we've implemented yet, but that is on things that we want to put out there.
Anyone else? Call for the question then. All in favor? Anyone opposed? I'd just like to say that that's good work, and let's get at it. That's great news to hear that. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. This is basically the same thing, but let's read it again, right?
It's a different agreement.
It's a different agreement. The city is taking the development of an active transport trail linking Kingsway with the college, as previously stated. Be it resolved that council accepts the information, a statutory easement agreement between the city and Assiniboine College, and a memo dated September 29th from the project and development manager recommending approval of the agreement, which allows the trail to cross college property, includes provisions for safety features at pedestrian crossings, and particularly near the college's child care center, and outlines responsibilities for future development, maintenance, and indemnification. Be it resolved that council agrees with these recommendations and approves the agreement with the college and authorizes myself to and the city manager to sign on behalf of the city. Questions or comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, this is starting to
Third
be
one.
redundant, right?
well, you
I
know
wouldn't,
what?
no, let's not call it that.
Check mark
These are the
processes.
check marks, these are the details. This is why things are complicated. Whereas the city is undertaking development of an active transport trail, whereas the city has secured the necessary approvals from the college and Manitoba Hydro, and whereas the project has received a $75,000 grant from Trails Manitoba based on a city contribution of $150,000, be it resolved that council accepts as information a memo from the project and development manager, noting that the city issued a request for quotes to 4 potential contractors and recommending that the contract be awarded to the sole bidder, Outdoor Oasis Landscaping and Design, for a cost of $95,000 plus applicable taxes. Further be resolved that council agrees with the project manager's recommendation and approves the quote for this active trail link in the amount of $95,000. Any questions or comments regarding this? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas the city is preparing to begin construction on the Craft District project in 2026 in the area of 2nd Avenue Southwest and 1st Street Southwest, a transformative initiative with an estimated cost of approximately $2.6 million. Be it resolved that council accepts this information, a memo dated September 29th from the project and development manager, noting that the Manitoba Growth, Renewal and Opportunities Grant, the GROW program, offers funding support of up to 50% for eligible costs, and with a 3-year completion window, and requires a certified resolution from council demonstrating the city's commitment to the project. Further be resolved that council approves the submission of an application to the Manitoba Grow Program for the Craft District project and commits to supporting the project and fulfilling all requirements of the grant if selected. Questions or comments regarding this recommendation? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Whereas the city entered into a supply and install contract with Nexom Incorporated on November 25th of last year for the supply of a submerged attached growth reactor, which is a wastewater treatment system for our wastewater lagoon expansion and upgrade project for a total contract value of $3.812 million, which included a provisional installation cost of $659,500 to be novated to a prime contractor once selected. And whereas the city subsequently entered into a construction contract with Penco on June the 10th, 2025, as the prime contractor for the wastewater lagoon expansion and upgrades for a cost of $14,319,931.60, which included the $659,500 installation of the SAGR equipment. And whereas the construction contract with Penco requires that the contractor enter into a novation agreement with the supplier and the city, transferring the responsibility of installation of the SAGR equipment to the prime contractor, be it resolved that council accepts this information and novation agreement between the city, Penco, and Nexom, transferring the installation portion of the original contract to the prime contractor, and a memo dated September 25th from the Director of Public Works and Operations recommending this agreement be approved. Further be resolved that council agrees with the recommendation and approves this agreement with Penco, Nexom, and authorizes the agreement to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the manager on our behalf. Charlotte can add some detail.
So I had to look up what novation means, and it's basically a new agreement that follows the lines of the old agreement. So just in a real brief nutshell, months ago, 2024, when we decided on which system we would be using to upgrade our lagoon with, the SAGR or the MBBR or SAGR or MBBR, when we chose the SAGR system, our consultant told us at the time that it was about an 8-month lead time to order the equipment and get it here. And so if we waited to award the contract for the construction to the prime contractor, that would delay the project quite a few months. So we, the City of Dauphin, purchase that Sager system, which included installation. We then subsequently awarded the construction project to Penco, and this agreement basically inserts Penco into our relationship so that they will oversee Nexum and the installation of this equipment.
Everyone got that? Yeah, it's okay. Test coming later. Make sure you remember the details. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you, Charlotte. Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the City of Dauphin is pursuing the creation of a climate adaptation plan as part of the 2025 budget, and where the city has been awarded a Federation of Canadian Municipalities Local Leadership and Climate Adaptation grant of up to $70,000 to support the development of this plan, based on a total project cost of $95,630. And whereas the city issued an RFP through Merck's and the city's website soliciting proposals to create this adaptation plan, which resulted in 8 submissions ranging in price from $78,616 to $96,905. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated September 29th from the project and development manager recommending the International Institute for Sustainable Development as the preferred proponent to create the city's climate adaptation plan, offering a proposal in the amount of $89,870 that is both cost-effective and of high quality. Further be resolved that council agrees with the recommendation and approves the proposal from the International Institute for Sustainable Development to prepare this plan at a cost of $89,870 plus taxes. Further be resolved that council authorizes the agreement to be signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager. Any questions or comments regarding this plan?
Well, first of all, I think it's cool that we had 8 people apply, because sometimes we don't get anybody apply for some of these things. And secondly, Justin had said that Selkirk had the same company, and I actually had read the Selkirk one years ago, and I thought it was really practical and easy to read and had good advice. So I think we're in good hands. So I'm excited about this.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the value of professional development and certification in enhancing staff capacity and service delivery, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo dated September 29th from the Project and Development Manager, Justin Tokarczyk, requesting reimbursement of expenses related to obtaining the project management professional designation, which includes preparatory courses, exams, and membership fees. Further be resolved that council authorizes the project and development manager to be reimbursed for the fees outlined in the memo, with reimbursement to be overseen by the city manager as based on receipts submitted. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin and seconded by Councillor Daly, be it resolved that Bylaw 11, 2025, being a bylaw of the city, amending local improvement bylaw 02, 2025, be now read a second time as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. If you would like to.
I was just going to say that this, for the lagoon project, we were taking some borrowing. We did it in 2 stages, and this is the second stage of that borrowing for $4+ million.
Thank you. So now we have the motion by Deputy Mayor Loughlin and seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that Bylaw 11, 2025, being a bylaw of the city, amending local improvement bylaw 02, 2025, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. As this is a recorded vote, I'll go around the table. Councillor Sobering, A. Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Councillor Stakilo is absent. Councillor Bellemare. Yes. Councillor Ray and Councillor Daly. And motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. The next agenda item, 11A, Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be resolved that council accepts as information the following invitations. The Dauphin and District Handyvan Association 40th Anniversary Celebration on October the 18th. The Canadian Beverage Containers Recycling Association 15th Anniversary event on October the 20th. The University College of the North, UCN Linkages College or Conference, October 21st and the 22nd. And the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, their 2025 Fall Convention and Trade Show, which is scheduled for November 25th to the 27th. Further be resolved that any expenses related to council or senior management attending these events be borne by the city. Any questions or comments regarding information about these 4 upcoming events? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Right to the end. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be resolved that we accept the council reports. Well, let's have the reports first before we decide whether we want to accept them or not. So we'll start today over here, and Councillor Daly's given me the EBGB look, so we're going to start with you. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. September 15th, I attended our last regular council meeting. September 16th, I drove to Brandon and attended the Assiniboine College Board of Directors meeting and sat through a very interesting 12-year plan for the North Hill. Quite impressive. September 17th, attended the joint RM City Council meeting in Aspen Lodge with respect to the recreation agreement. September 22nd, attended our priority and planning meeting here in Chambers. And on September 25th in the afternoon, attended a meeting in Chambers with mayor, council, and staff with Prairie Mountain Health executives. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. September 15th, I attended the last regular council meeting. On the 17th, I also attended the rec meeting with the RM. September 20th, I took in the Dauphin Kings home opener, which was a blowout victory over Swan River, or Swan Valley. September 22nd, I attended our planning and priorities meeting here at City Hall. And on the 26th, I was present at the rec center for the photo with MLA Ron Costician, City RM, and DRS staff. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. World Traveler, Councillor Bellemare, you're next.
Thank you. So I was out of town for the September 15th council meeting, so I've got some August meetings here. On the 13th, Dauphin and Area Welcoming Community Coalition and Protective Services meeting, a Riverside Cemetery meeting on the 20th, and the 26th, the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. And the 4th, there were 2 Community Safety and Wellbeing Advisory Committee and the Riding Mountain Biosphere Reserve Zoom meeting. And on Friday last week, a liaison meeting with the Dauphin and District Allied Arts Council. And I too was at the photo event on Friday, which is, we were received as a community $100,000 from our provincial government for a new ice chiller that was needed at the rec complex from the ground up infrastructure program. So it's an expensive piece of equipment, so it was nice to have that chunk of change to help with that. And in terms of community events, Culture Days, of course, is happening now. So check the Herald and Facebook, etc., because JL Gios and his committee, they're always coming up with some really neat things to do to celebrate our community culture. And there's tickets on sale at the Watson for the Dauphin Apocalypse, which is coming up around Halloween. And so Peter Nadolny, he's a local person who writes and directs all kinds of really neat musicals. So if that's your thing, go check that out and get some tickets. And of course, tomorrow is Truth and Reconciliation Day. So here's an opportunity to gather and learn more about matters that are important to our heart and our community. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Deputy Mayor Lachlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For me, September 15th, the regular council meeting here at City Hall. I, as well, on September 17th, was at the recreation meeting with the RM for Dauphin Recreation Services and all that. On the 20th, Dauphin Kings home opener, great night, sponsored by Assiniboine College. Just want to say thank you to Assiniboine College for sponsoring that game. Just a lot of great forward-thinking people that are a part of the Assiniboine College here in our community. Over 1,100 people in attendance there. On the 22nd, the Monday, planning and priorities meeting here at City Hall. And then on the 27th, it was mentioned that Fire Prevention Week is coming up, but on the 27th, this past Saturday, the Kings and the Fire Department were on hand for Fire Prevention Week game. They had the fire trucks and everything there. And I also want to thank JL and Culture Days for being on hand for the Kings game as well with Dauphin Culture Days. And that ends my report.
Councillor Sobering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On September the 15th, I attended the council meeting and I was also at the Welcome Week event that we had here at City Hall in the afternoon, welcoming newcomers to our area and jurisdiction from all over the world. I was at the 17th RM City Recreation meeting. Very happy that we had a positive outcome and can finally move forward. The 18th, I was at a craft district meeting where the budget for the project was presented and in a Class D level. So there's still some work to be done in tuning that up, but it's a great start. Just give a bit of scope to the project. I was on the 25th. I was at attendance of the meeting with Prairie Mountain Health with the team and executive talking about some of their issues and some of the opportunities. I was at the photo op with our MLA, Ron Costician, on the 26th. And one that I'll end with is I did attend an important meeting along with Lisa Gaudette with Vice President Francis Chartrand of the Northwest Métis Council. We did meet with her and her team to discuss some of the challenges and issues as a result of the warm safe space. There have been a number of issues raised with the surrounding businesses and community members as to the negative impacts the residents are experiencing based on some of the services offered out of there. We know that those challenges do not reside with the Northwest Métis Council. However, we do have to work together to find solutions, and we have to make it clear that the safety of our residents is paramount, even though we all care and want to help those in need and our vulnerable populations. So I think the meeting was productive. Our point of view was clearly articulated, and we're going to be working on this all ongoing and in a positive and collaborative attitude. But we do desire to make sure that all of the citizens of the city of Dauphin feel safe, and that this is a very welcoming and a great place. We want it to remain a great place for everybody to live, especially as we invite newcomers from all over the world for new job opportunities and business opportunities, and that's the type of positive growth we all desire. And having said that, I will be probably attending some of the TNR celebrations events tomorrow, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. I'm not going to repeat the events that I attended with members of council that indicated the various meetings that were held over the last couple of weeks, but I did want to highlight a couple of other meetings that I've had in that period of time. I had a very productive introductory meeting with the new superintendent of Riding Mountain National Park, Tom Sheldon, local guy, returned to the area. He's originally from St. Rose, and so he understands he's got a huge new responsibility to figure out some of the issues that are in Riding Mountain National Park, and more specifically in Clear Lake, regarding the zebra mussel issue. That's been a hot topic for a couple of years. But what was really reassuring was to hear that all the previous work that's been done with the city, with the Northgate Group and others on trail development and enhancements of trails in the park is a high priority for him. And so we were told about a year ago at a trail meeting in the park that the North End trails, Broadleaf, Beach Ridges, Hilton, and Crawford were a priority for Riding Mountain National Park and would be their next capital projects. And last fall, we were encouraged when some initial scrubbing was occurring on the Edwards link between Northgate Trails and Beach Ridges, Broadleaf Trailhead, and Crawford parking lot. That work is ongoing again, and Tom Sheldon reassured me and said that it will maintain a priority with him. And he has suggested that The trail maintenance crew at Riding Mountain National Park will be continuing to work on that project. They just finished Boreal Trail. It's going to be open. I think it's open now. And there's a trail symposium coming up in Arnold this weekend with Trail Manitoba and others. And so Riding Mountain National Park finally has Boreal Trail open. And so it was a great meeting with him and to get a sense of they're on the same side of the issues as we are. I also had a couple of meetings with other folks. We had a pretty busy day on last Thursday where I spoke at Henderson School to grade 2s, and holy cow, being a teacher is tough work. Councillor Ray, Councillor Bellemare, you might know that. But so I had a presentation there, and then I attended the Truth and Reconciliation event that was held at Mackenzie Middle School and brought greetings on behalf of the city, and a great turnout, great weather in the morning, and then the Prairie Mountain Health meeting in the afternoon. It was great to talk to CAO and a VP of about what's going on in the relationship that we're trying to work with them. And then we had a interesting meeting with the Salal Board and the Northgate Trails Group on their potential plans of doing some more things up at the Salal site. So that was encouraging. And then I had a meeting with Canadian National Ukrainian Festival president last week and discussed the letter that they sent the city. And so we're moving forward on that front. And I also met very recently with Bob Gilroy and got some updates on Country Fest and city support of Country Fest and what their plans are going forward. So, man, after almost having no meetings in August and first part of September, things are ramping up. And as all of you have acknowledged, we're getting busy and we've got 1 year to go. So, I guess what's a good cliche I should use right now? Jump in the saddle and hang on, or whatever. But that concludes my reports. I know Sean is shifting in his chair. He wants to get out of here. So I will call for the question then. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried to accept those. And we'll adjourn the meeting, or we'll recess the meeting at 5:40 p.m. Motion by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Locke. All in favor?